Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Diary of a Creator. This is the introduction video where I'm just going to be explaining a little bit about the channel, what's it going to be about, who it's for, and who I am. So just starting off with a quick intro for me. So I'm Victoria. I would describe myself as a free-spirited soul who is on my own journey to bringing my purpose to life through learning the art of creating from my heart and really creating from my soul. I am an ex-corporate hustler and bustler, turned hypnotherapist and coach. I am living a bit of a nomad life at the moment, going back to Bali in a few days, but at the moment I'm in Australia with my family. I have been on my spiritual personal development journey for over a decade now, but things really ramped up for me about 3 to 4 years ago, as I'm sure they did for a lot of people. And that's really where I went through my biggest dark night of the soul. I'm not the same person as I was. It was really that heavy hitting healing time where I went into all types of modalities and really took the time to break out of a lot of the conditioning that I had been living in that I was not aware of. And I now go on to help others, support others on their own journey towards living a soul led life of freedom and fulfillment and purpose. So, a core part of that journey, and at least in most recent times, is understanding and diving into the universal principles of creation and alchemy and manifestation, and all things mystic and magical. But what I really mean from this, and it's about learning how to create life from our highest version of ourselves. So, our soul, it's our expansive and limitless version versus what we typically tend to do is living through our lower self. It's the restriction, it's the fear, it's the conditioning. And for someone who has been conditioned to be very intellectual and mind based, I've had a very hard time with fully embodying these learnings, which is really what sparked the idea of this channel. And I will come on to a little bit more around that. But I having come across a lot of the principles that I have in recent time, I just intuitively 100% know that for those that are living their soul led life, this is the way, this is the path. And it takes work. It's a difficult path. It's not an easy path. Um, and I really have been a unassuming guinea pig for these principles because I have been through a learning and embodying experience in the recent year or so, and obviously keep going. I am not a master. I will put that straight out here. But there's so many things that I've been doing terribly wrong and being far more conditioned in what I'm doing than I had even realized. And I know I'm not the only one that will be struggling with this because these principles go way deeper than I want a car, I want a house, that superficial level of the want, because that's ultimately the desires. What this really truly is, it's about exiting the matrix. It's about exiting the fear based, conditioned response to life and stepping into our highest version. So it's actually learning to lead our life from the soul, from the heart, rather than from the head, which, as I say, I was the guinea pig because this has been a work in progress. And it really is a big journey. It's a big thing. It takes a long time to train your mind and your body to a new way of living and a new way of being. But for anyone that is looking for fulfillment and freedom and really to understand what you're here for and what your purpose is, this is the way. It is about learning how to lead from the heart and a total redirect of energy from what we're taught and conditioned to do, which is all head, and move from the heart. So it's no wonder a lot of people are lost and can't work it out and don't get what they want. But this is 100% the way. So, and as I said, it's broader than the manifestation common perception of like, oh, I want a big house. It's not that. It's not like, I want a house, I want a boyfriend. It's not that. It's actually listening to your heart, allowing it to show you what is there, and then going and creating it from that space. And so Overall, the objective of Diary of Creator is really to inspire expansion, creation, and soul-led living amongst awakening souls or anyone who's looking for freedom, fulfillment, purpose. Because I truly believe that a soul-led path is the only way to experience true fulfillment. It really is the only way to live a life that is led by what you truly want and who you truly are versus who you've been taught to be. So it is about releasing the conditioned layers of self and really living from your own truth, because the only way fulfillment comes is through being yourself in its simplest form. But not many of us are doing that because of the way we've moved through society, the human condition. I mean, it confuses the shit out of me sometimes, but and so really the core part of that journey is understanding how to create a life from your heart. And in order to do that, we must first understand who we are, which involves a process of understanding all that we are not. And so the way I call it a diary, because I am going to inspire through my own journey, all of my mistakes to date, and they will continue because I am nowhere near mastery and not many people are. It is a journey, and I've really come up against some corkers on this journey that I wasn't even aware that I was doing. And there's been a lot of ups and a lot of downs. And so really through the art of sharing that, if there's one thing I've learned, that's one of the most powerful things, it's normalization of what we're moving through and knowing that someone else is too. And to be able to witness our own experiences in another person's experience, to know that, okay, this is normal. And really, through that normalization, there's a lot of acceptance of the journey, because this is not a linear journey. It is like this. And sometimes it feels like you are in a washing machine. But I will be sharing some of that stuff. And so I will be packing in the lessons and the wisdom through that. So it's more, this is a channel designed to serve, but serving through using my own journey, so that you can hopefully pick up the lessons before I did. And so this is really a channel for anyone seeking soul-led life of freedom, fulfillment, joy. It's for those that haven't really ever been able to accept the status quo, the matrix, starting to become aware, knowing that there is more out there. You're awakening, you're wanting to create change in yourself, in the world. So a little bit more about me. So for those other astrology personality profile geeks, such as myself, and actually I would advise you to get more geeky on this, because these are incredible tools to break down our egoic personality structure, to really be able to spot the ways that we resist what we actually want, which is, that is the work. So for those gigs, I am a 4-6 generator in human design. In Gene Keys, my genius is 4424 and 3319. I love Gene Keys. Gene Keys is probably the one that I lean on the most, because I am about all things purpose and really wanting to understand who I am, what I'm here for, and actually helping others to do that too. I love, funnily, my gifts in Gene Keys is the gift of seeing people, and sensitivity, which is no surprise that I ended up doing this work. I am a Scorpio as a sun, Cancer moon, which means I'm emotional AF, and a Leo rising. I've got a Master 11 in numerology, and my latest personality profiling tool is Enneagram. And I have just come to the conclusion that I am an Enneagram 4 with a wing of a 3. Now, if you know that, you'll know what that is. If you don't worry. It's probably gibberish right now, but just leave it at that. As you can probably tell, I'm a bit of a rule breaker, a change maker, and a determined mother effer to do things differently. I've not ever subscribed to norms in really my entire life, and my mum says right since I was 2 years old, and I don't ever intend to. I am passionate about living the soul-led life because I know it is possible, and about breaking out of the conditioning and the structures that we are taught to believe are the only way to live life. And ultimately, I really just want to inspire others to do the same, others that are feeling that lack of fulfillment, and drive for life, and just knowing that there's more there, because there is more there, I promise you. And so I put in the channel really three core values of mine. One being freedom. So I am a free spirit at heart. That is just who I am. It plays out in all elements. And for me, freedom is freedom to be joyful, to play, to discover, to travel. It's the freedom to express ourselves in the way that we want to, the freedom to create what we want in life, and ultimately the freedom to follow our heart and go wherever we want to in this life. Obviously, so long as it's not hurting others, but when you're coming from your heart, it never will be. Alchemy. So I am very connected, to soul, to the mystic realm, and alchemy. I'm not a master of these yet, and obviously a lot of this channel will be about that, because these principles, when I've read them, I know they are truth. Where we have the power to shift energy and our own reality, but the process of getting there has been the tricky part. And I know that this is really central to living a soul-led life and these principles. And it is what I believe, I truly believe, that we can shift energy, shift our reality through work. And a core part of me is I'm very curious and very explorative and open-minded, and this is where my energy is going right now, into cracking these universal principles and codes. And that is my core value right now, is cracking this code. And purpose. So the work I do with others is really centered around purpose. And I will be working even with corporate for purpose, because it is so integral to being a human that we will eventually seek to understand meaning and our purpose in this life, and understand what we're here for. And it is ultimately the full journey of their self-development, of the spirituality. It's if you've heard of the hero's journey, it's really this return to self, to understand your uniqueness, your gifts, and all of that. And so exploring purpose has been a fundamental driver, and is always going to be a fundamental driver of my life. And what I've worked out through my journey, and others, is there is no fixed mark. You're not going to get this. My purpose is to be a hypnotherapist. That's not it. It's so multifaceted. And what I've come to realize through this journey itself is that ultimately your purpose is just to create from your heart. Whatever is in your heart in that moment, that is the purpose. And this is why they're here in births this channel. But it is in its simplest form, that is what it is. And I think we get a little bit tricked into, and certainly I was, of trying to define your purpose as in like a career or a path in that way. And that's just putting a limitation on something that is so expansive, because it is your entire experience here as a soul. And there really is no other purpose to life than to understand that journey, and living from the heart and creating from that space. And so, as you can tell, I've not really come here for an average life. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you haven't either. But that obviously means that life hasn't always been particularly easy for me. And so, full disclosure, because we all have egoic structure, and the things that I struggle with and have come up in this journey for me is a deep sense of not belonging. So no matter how included I am, I will always be looking for ways that I don't fit. This comes up everywhere in my life. I can be in a crowd, in a group that tell me, oh my God, you belong. And I'm like, no, I don't. Which leads to feeling misunderstood, lonely, The other thing, I'm afraid to be fully seen. Me being here now on camera has taken a couple of years to do that, and certainly sit here and say these things because I can tend to hide behind my knowledge, which feels safe to me. So this is me kind of coming up against my egoic structure as well. I struggle with rejection, especially in the romantic sense. So getting my heart broken it's a big thing because I feel it very deeply. And so this is another dysfunction pattern that holds me back and keeps me from showing up, really. Very critical and judgmental. So I do this with others, but more importantly, I do it mostly with myself. And so there's a lot of self-doubt that I will come up against, even coming onto this channel and like, oh, should I do it? Blah, blah, blah. All of that came up. And you'll hopefully come to understand that that is really a very normal process. That is really what I want to convey to anyone on this journey. So yeah, so before all of my dark night soul journey, I used to be very frustrated with who I was. I felt very blocked, very limited, but I didn't know how to get out of it. And through the healing kind of journey and process, which depending on where you're at, you kind of come to this eventual point where you realize that there's nothing wrong with you. And that in itself is such a freeing part. And yes, those patterns that I just spoke to still play out for me, but they're not me. They are my egoic structure. I accept them as they play out, but they don't run my life. Sometimes they do. I definitely still have pity parties, don't worry. But really, my focus, and when we talk about the creation and the manifestation journey, we are trying to anchor into our highest self, and that's what it is. And in my higher self, I am a magician, I'm a creator, and I am a shaman. That is what I am when I tap into it. And I can feel that very powerfully within sometimes. Sometimes I can't feel it at all. And that is really the journey, is understanding and embracing the dichotomy of the human experience, that you will have these lower parts exist at the same time as you have the higher parts exist. And this resistance between those two, that is the work, that is the concentration on actually creating what we want. And that is really what a lot of the sharings are going to be about. And so before we kick off the channel, it's important to note that all of what I am creating currently, I do not have. So obviously I've created a lot in my life, but what I'm focused on has not yet landed. So I am on another proverbial cliff edge right now as I go to launch this channel. And this is a way for me to resonate with people that are doing literally the same and feeling the same and feeling like you're failing at doing this. Well, you're not, you're human. It takes time to move through this, but I 100% know in my heart that these principles and this journey is possible. And so that is really it. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.